Welcome. It's match number 2 here at the Seattle Orcas Women's T20 Exhibition Series. A lot to play for, and we've got the Bellevue Blazers taking on the Washington Waves. Coming to you from Monroe in Washington, and it's time for the toss. Let's head down to Brian. A bad way to start whatsoever. It's right on the mark, right on the money. And always a great confidence piece when you can get a bit of an appeal in there, isn't it?
It certainly is. Nicardoshi will want to have scored more runs than she did in the first match this morning. And anytime as a batter you don't perform to the extent that you wanted to, there's always sort of that nervousness, that, let's call it that healthy amount of nervousness to start being a little bit more destructive. Certainly you want to do that at the top of the innings.
Not afraid to put her back into that. Bit of extra bounce as well off the surface. It is the Seattle Orcas Women's T20 Exhibition Series here in Fairfield Country Park from the beautiful Monroe in Washington. I must say it's a pretty scenic place as well. You've got the mountains on one side, some hills behind us, and the weather's been quite lovely. A nice breeze. It's going to be handy for some of the bowlers as well to utilize, especially the pacers, to get some movement through the air. This is struck well, up and over, and it should run away for 4. Absolutely does. That's going to be the first boundary of the innings.
Well, that will make Nicardoshi feel much, much better. That was a confident shot. It was angled toward her legs. You don't want to bowl that line from over the wicket. That angle is not threatening the stumps, and all she has to do is get bat on that. You're in the power play, so no protection in the deep on the leg side. Easy 4 runs to Nicardoshi.
Now, we had asked some interesting questions, didn't we, Brian, in the first game as to where Jazara Claxton was going to be batting. Pulled away again. Just needs to pitch this ball up marginally. Been a bit too short in the over so far. Didn't come in until a lot later in the first game. In fact, she came in into the 19th over. Had a quick chat with the coach as well as to why that was, and she was nursing an injury. She's just got an injury on her knee, but she is back where she should be, opening the batting. And it did get a bit dicey in that first game. They did scrape through at the end, Washington Waves, but they want to get in a better position in this game. Are you surprised that they have chosen to have a bat again?
I'm not. This is the time of the day where it's best for batting. The wicket actually has improved a little bit. The ball is coming onto the bat a little bit better in this portion of the day than it was earlier. And given the confidence that they had batting in the second half of their innings, the Washington Waves, I think there's no surprise whatsoever that they would have chosen to bat first.
Oh, it's a West Indian contest at the moment. Alia Lane coming on with the ball. Jazara Claxton with the bat. They would have seen a lot of each other in the West Indies. They do play quite a few regional tournaments as well within the West Indies. Both been part of the West Indies setup at different times.
This is a St. Kitts versus Barbados matchup. And both of these young ladies certainly would have seen a lot of each other.
Pace off this time, and a very good over. Apart from the one boundary, she's been on the money. Alia Lane. That's going to wrap up the first. It's 5-0. Tidy first over for the Washington Waves. Most importantly, they've kept their wickets intact. That was a bit of an issue in the first game that they played this afternoon against the Redmond Raptors. It's the skipper with the ball. Giovanna Aris, tall character, isn't she? Able to use a lot of that height to her advantage.
Very similar to her opposite number, Gitika Kadali. Similar height, both around 5'9", 5'10", I would estimate. Both very well built for fast bowlers. Both have come on leaps and bounds in the recent years in their batting. So it is an interesting matchup. Here you want to see what the captain can do with the ball.
Cut away. And won't get it past the fielder. Oh, she's one of the locals, Giovanna Aris, born and based in Bellevue. She's the only player in the field in her home city. 3 T20Is. She took 4 wickets in Fairbreak Invitational match. Fairbreak, a great initiative as well, isn't it, to grow women's cricket. Not small wickets, though. She took those 3. Laura Wolvart, Charmaine Campbell. Those are some big names.
Those are big names.
Up and over, down the ground, and does well. This is going to run away for 4, utilizing this power play very well.
This is a good shot. Essentially no risk whatsoever, just elevating it over the top. Look at this, it's a little too full, and it's on maybe a 5th stump line. That is a drivable ball, and with mid-off in position, as long as you make clean contact, that is always going to run away for 4. So it was over and to the right of mid-off, in other words, toward extra cover. So solid shot there from Nicardoshi, who was already feeling, you would think, and looking a lot better than she did this morning. Off to a fast start, 9 from 6 with 2 boundaries.
Draws her into the shot. The width was good, and unlucky that that is gone for the 1 run. fatigue might be a bit of an issue. Washington Waves, this is their second game here. And the fact they've chosen to bat first might actually work out in their favor. It just allows for their players to get a bit of a rest in, get out of the sun. There is a bit of a 2-hour gap in between the two games that allows for that as well. She's all right. Just a shake of the head. No, it was a nod of the head to the umpire.
I don't know that I know exactly what's going on with Giovanna Ara. She appears to be laboring a little bit, and I don't know whether or not she's carrying an injury. And I certainly don't want to speculate on that. But she doesn't seem quite as spry walking back to her mark as she ordinarily does.
Slashed away really well. That's going to bring on another boundary. This time it's Jazara Claxton. She'll get off the mark with that 4.
If you see what I saw as we look at this replay, short and wide, and Jazara Claxton, no left-hander will refuse that shot. That is easy runs. But what I was about to highlight is the fact that Giovanna Aris's run-up was cut in half. She literally ran up about half the distance that she normally does. So it certainly does appear that something is concerning her. And it's just something to keep an eye on as we get through the remaining stages of this first few overs.
Better delivery, needed to do better in the field. It's going to allow for a single. And it is a bit of a concern when your premier fast bowler is limping. It is a bigger concern when that premier fast bowler is your captain. And the fact that she's bowled 2 wides in the over, and she's got to bowl 2 extra deliveries for that, is not going to help that injury. Make that 1 more wide. Make that 2 more wides. In fact, looking to come back. And they do decide against it. She just doesn't seem to have the rhythm at the moment, and I don't know if it's a niggle that she has, but she's not quite getting the right action. She's not getting that arm high enough to release it.
I think it's way more than a niggle. There's definitely an injury of some sort, and she is essentially laboring her way to the crease. Look at this. That is just a dot ball to finish things in over number 2, an expensive one for the captain. And again, the bigger concern for me is whatever injury she happens to be carrying. Let's hope that that plays itself out sometime soon. End of 2, the score is 19 without loss.
Suspicion is just confirmed as Giovanna Aris has walked off the field. She is going to have whatever issue she has looked at real quick, and probably the best decision here, because this is just day 1 of a tournament that's going to last for 4 days. Want to make sure that she's healthy for at least the rest of it. Good bit of pace there. But again, it's short and wide, and this is not what you want. We've seen a couple of sloppy moments in the field, and they just continue to leak a couple of runs here and there from it.
Yeah, this will be frustrating. I think you've seen evidence that to whatever extent possible, you want to support your bowlers in the field, but that doesn't happen if you're not able to field the ball cleanly. And a single already conceded when there really should have been a dot ball. So that brings the team down, on top of the fact that your captain has already limped off with what appears to be an injury. So not good times here for the Bellevue Blazers.
Decent delivery. Gets it right on the block hole. Now there is batting to come for this side, the Washington Waves. We saw a bit of that in the first game. Almost a half century. Someone on 48. Sanvi Sood, 48 from her today. In the gap. It is a quick outfield, and it won't quite make it to the rope. Wayward throw. Very wayward throw. You might be able to answer this question for me. Giovanna Aris off the field, who's stand-in captain?
If you're asking me who would I make stand-in captain, Taranum Chopra has great... Oh, I'm sorry, she's batting. It would probably be Disha Dhingra, who's very experienced.
Okay.
You would also think that you'd want to give it to one of the international players, either Alea Lean herself or Jenny Glasgow.
Check shot, aerial, will get it over the fielder, and it will also run away over the rope. Not in a lot of control on that. She did hold back on finishing the shot.
If I am going to listen to you, Manala Patel, as the hardest grader of cricket shots that I've ever seen in my life, with the field that was in, that was actually a decent shot because she knew she could clear mid off. And once she cleared mid off, that ball was always going to run away for 4.
Just closing the face of the bat on that. Well, you talk about the internationals potentially taking charge. The only issue is that they would not know what they've got in their arsenal. Whereas one of the local players, Disha Dhingra, for example, she would know who her options are. At least in a local perspective, she would have known who the internationals are, absolutely. We'll try and get you confirmation on who's actually in charge out there. Up and over again. This time it's well placed and well timed, and it will run away for 4 more. Great way to end the over.
Nick Ardoshi looks like a different batter from this morning, and this looks like a more confident shot. And the ball was slightly fuller, and so you go through a lot more cleanly with the strike, so definitely getting runs for that.
Brian, are you saying that I was right earlier?
I was not saying that you were right. I will never admit that I was wrong. You know that. But having said that, there is not a lot wrong with either shot. Both safe enough shots. On the first one, all she needed to do was clear the infield. That ball was always going to run away for 4. This one, solid drive toward extra cover, 4 more. And they look identical in the scorebook.
You're beating around the bush as a win. 3 overs gone, 29 for none. West Indian contest continues. Janelia Glasgow back in with the ball. Short and wide, been a bit of a story, hasn't it, with the ball this innings so far?
Short and wide, yes, but this seems to be intentional, short and wide, because there's a sweeper on the offside specifically for that shot. Now, with the left-hander off of strike, the right-hander Nikardoshi on strike, that deep mid-wicket is in position, so that short and wide is absolutely not going to work here. So she'll have to be closer on the stumps.
Decent start this though. With the 3 overs gone, 31 runs on the board. It's a much better start than what we saw this morning.
Well, at the toss, you would have heard where Geetika Kadale said that she wanted 150. And this is certainly the type of start that puts you in that range. Current projected score is 186. I don't think 186 is realistic. But
I think it's very early days.
It's very, very early. And I don't think that's realistic. But this start, you can push on and get something around the 140, 150 mark, which I think would be very handy.
That's an edge. That's an edge.
Tell you what.
And into the ground.
Well, you know, in some versions of cricket, 1 hand, 1 bounce, that could have been out. In some versions.
It is a really fun version. Well played, straight to the fielder. Janelia Glasgow, 26 T20 Is, 247 runs. But her best is 3 for 15 with the ball.
Exactly what the Bellevue Blazers needed. Again, the first over from the captain, Giovanna Aras, was very expensive. Let's credit most of that to her apparently carrying some sort of injury. But here we see the squads. Geetika Kodali and Taranum Chopra batted beautifully this morning. You have the internationals in there, Jazar Claxton, and of course the Americans, Nikardoshi we talked about, Yashaditi Teki, and I think Sanvi Sood are going to be really important. And do not forget about Amar Palkar.
Yeah, excellent off spin. She was really effective this morning. Picked up 2 wickets as well. And she's a handy bat. Didn't quite get the start that she'd have liked with the bat. She did open this morning. I don't mind this change though, to be able to bring in a more attacking batter in Jazara Claxton. I think Amar Palkar is more of a number 3 in my books. I believe it is going to be Disha Dhingra who is calling the shots out there with Giovanna Aras off the field.
So, Manala Patel, are you saying that I was right?
Well, you said it might be one of the internationals, and I was the voice of reason, and I said, I don't really know.
Don't even change the story now. The first name I said was Disha Dhingra.
And then you changed your mind. Just got to be a bit more confident in yourself, Brian. Confidence. So again, I win. God, I'm like the Washington Waves. I just keep winning.
Oh my goodness. 3 more days of this.
Absolutely. A little bit of flight from Chetna, but good length. Keeping it just short of a good length. I'd like to see some of these batters.
Well, welcome back to the Maiden Cricket Media Centre, and joining me here is a very well-known Seattle cricket celebrity, Salman Taj. Salman, welcome to the Seattle Orcas Women's T20 exhibition. Tell us what you're thinking about this event that we've got here running today.
No, I think, Sean, thank you first of all for having me here. Couldn't have asked for anything more. When you first announced this tournament here in Seattle, bringing women and girls from across the country as well as internationally, we thought, yeah, one more tournament. But when we start trickling in today, 7 a.m., some of the volunteers started showing up and some of the locals started showing up. And when they saw the setting here, everybody was amazed. I got so many text messages talking about how wonderful a setup this is. So great job, I would say, Sean. I think the setup has been tremendous. The quality of the cricket has been great. I think we couldn't have asked for anything better than this. This is amazing. Great job.
Thanks, Salman. Now, I don't need to introduce you to the local Seattle community, but for the audience that's beyond the Seattle area, just give us an idea of the role that you play in helping develop cricket here in Seattle.
Sure, absolutely. So I run a cricket academy here locally in Seattle called Major League Cricket Academy, one of the oldest and one of the largest academies in Seattle, where both boys and girls, right from 9 to 19, are training almost daily here. So that's one thing. Recently we've also invested in a minor league cricket team as well. So it's North England Eagles, which is based out of Boston. We are in the process of moving it and whatnot. But so we are working on the infrastructure as well as the grassroots level of cricket. That's the youth. How do we get more youth involved in cricket, and how do we take them to something like this and beyond, which is Major League and whatnot? So our focus has been youth, and our focus has been younger kids, both boys and girls. And I can tell you one thing, Sean, since Major League has started in the US, the amount of interest in cricket across the country, but specifically within Seattle, has grown tremendously. We were the only academy when we started, and now we have 6 academies. And that is great. And that is great for the sport. That is great for for all the youth as well. And there were probably 100 kids playing cricket 5 years, 6 years earlier. And now we have almost 1,000 playing cricket, and a lot of girls. And that's a very, very encouraging thing as well. Now, since we are at a girls' tournament here, or a women's tournament, I think last 2 years has been a tremendous growth in the girls' cricket. And I think Seattle Orcas is doing its best to push the envelope there, and that helps a lot as well, apart from the work that is happening at the grassroots.
Well, Salman, just thank you very much for the work that you do with the MLC Academy, but for all the 6 academies that are here in Seattle, you play an extremely important role in the pathway and the development of cricket is in the local Washington area, but also across the country. And we, as a Major League Cricket franchise, are very grateful for the time, the effort, the investment that you play. For those of you who joined me in the first game, we interviewed Rayan Taj, who is Salman's younger son, who plays cricket for the USA at under-19 level. I'm sure you're a very proud father to have a cricketer playing there. So, Salman, thank you very much for your time today. We appreciate your effort, your support, and everything you're doing for the local cricket community here in Seattle.
Thanks, Sean. Thank you very much for having us here. Yep.
Okay, we'll go back to the central commentary team.
Lovely chat that. Thanks a lot. Gentlemen, back to the action. The wides, unfortunately, are starting to happen a little too consistently here, and it's been a decent start. They want to try and keep the pressure on top. The Blazers. But 7.88, Shield. This is a good start with a bat.
This is a different planet.
And that's going to help. What a shot that is. Down the track, it was short. There was width on offer as well. Excellent footwork this, as it is slashed away for 4 in the offside.
29 for 3 in the previous game in the power play, and now they are, without a loss of wicket, they have come out all guns blazing. It looks like a completely different planet that they're playing 2 games in the span of a few hours.
Well, and this is where the impact of a Jazara Claxton is so important up at the top. She might not be the one scoring a lot of the runs yet, but it's the fact that the non-strikers got confidence that you've got all that experience at the other end. Excellent partnership this, and this at 46 with still deliveries, 3 deliveries to come in the power play. You would expect that estimation of 150 that they're aiming for. It's on the cards at the moment.
True that, absolutely. And Nick Cardoshi looks 180% different from 180 degrees or 360 degrees different from what she was in the previous game.
Takes pace off this time. Takes pace off, and it does the job. Was expecting the pace on to be able to get that shot in, but it's the fact that there has been no pace on this that's resulted in the wicket. This is an excellent delivery and great experience on showcase from Janelia Glasgow. It's the big fish that we were talking about, Jazara Claxton. She's gone for 12 off 17.
Well, put the markers on waves. They were going quite a unrelenting pace, but against all run-of-outs, there comes the wicket that the Blazers would be completely delighted to have. Just a couple of deliveries to go for the power play to end, and they got a wicket, a prized wicket of Jazara Claxton, 46 for 1.
Always great to see support out here. Monroe, Seattle, you're a local, aren't you?
Yep.
Tell me about this place.
Monroe is completely an uncharacteristic place for cricket to come, and thanks to some of the very passionate patrons here locally who have invested in this location, invested in this venue specifically, getting hold of some of the land here, cleaning up and making a couple of facilities available. It augurs so well for bringing some of these kind of quality competitive tournaments, both for women and men, and doing immensely good for the talent that's coming out of this area. So I am super delighted, because there were a couple of other venues that haven't frequented, but those were far more common venues for multiple sports. These are cricket-focused venues that's being curated, and extremely delighted to see these things coming to fruition.
That's sort of the thing that you expect when it's a community effort and people get into continually looking to develop the sport. A big part of that is the infrastructure.
Absolutely. Having two.
Parna Gurumati, new batter out in the middle.
It helps to have a major league and a minor league team coming out of the city. Both of them had their share of prominence and success, and they've been doing extremely well when the season is not on in grooming some of the talent in all sorts of schools out here. That's the end of the power play. 6 overs done, 46 for 1.
Well, this is the squad of the Bellevue Blazers. They were put in to have a ball first today, led by Giovanna Aris. She's off the field, a bit of a concern, but there's a lot of experience. And Disha Dhingra has now taken the reins out in the middle while the skipper is nursing her injury. Alia Lane, we've seen a little bit from already as the international on the side. And you've got the likes of Chetna, who's been excellent with the ball. But you would expect the likes of Alia Lane, Janelle Glasgow, they will be key today for their side. Down the ground. And dealing in singles at the moment, and it's going to take a bit of rebuilding after the fall of that last wicket.
The good part is Nikar is still there. She's 28 of 17. She's kind of the aggressor in this innings so far. It will be interesting to see how she what role she plays. She was clearly feeding off the energy she was getting from Jashara Glasgow on the Blackstone on the other side. Aparna Gurumurthy is a young talent, and she would obviously looking forward to make her presence felt here.
Bit of turn off the surface. The one thing that I've got to be honest about that I'm very impressed is the overall age. When you look at the average age of the players in this tournament, there's so much young talent. And that's a very promising sign for a country who's continually improving.
And that has been a highlight, Monali. Last couple of years, it's been a highlight of every cricketing conversation about the future of cricket in the North America. It's not just United States, but Canada and the likes. Just the talent pool that's coming up of youngsters who picked up the sport, and stories that come up like Giovanna. She's off the ground right now with the story of hers picking up cricket just about 5 years back, and now being chosen as a marquee player, having already represented the United States. It's such a remarkably inspiring story.
Well, the other thing is, from a selection perspective, it just gives so many more options for your selectors. And you know that you've got a pipeline of players. When you've got all these 15-year-olds in this tournament, yes, your under-19 squad's going to be strong, but then it also gives you a 5-10-year plan for that senior side.
I always believe that there is a strong parallel the way soccer was embraced in America after the first World Cup in '94, and that's the end of the 7th over, 49 for 1, run rate of 7. So as I was saying, soccer was embraced, and the women's version of soccer, in fact, produced more global glory and world titles and all of that, and that's the potential that exists in landscape like this, where sport is such an incredible and such an integral part of the youth, and they're growing up. And there's a lot of focus on girls to take up some kind of sport with certain degree of focus, and it's good to see so many young girls and women talent taking cricket as one of their choices.
You bring up a very good point about how your women's soccer team has had a lot more success than the men's team has, and how they invested in that quite heavily. Interestingly enough, when you look at Brazil and their cricket program, they've done the same thing with their women's team, where their women's team was contracted well before their men's team was. Because that ladder that you're talking about to climb to the top is a lot shorter in the women's game than it is in the men's game. And it's not to say that the USA has not had a lot of success with their men's program, but it's also commendable the amount of success that they've had with their women's program. Looking to sweep it. It won't quite get it away. Mahik Desai in with the ball. She started well. The run rate just starting to drop after the loss of that first wicket. Down the ground, there is protection. And just the one run. It was a low full toss. She could have put that away anywhere she'd have liked.
Yes. It was played a little rather conservatively, and these are the kind of shots Nikar was taking a little more of chances and was getting a little more creative. She seems to have put a little bit more of caution to her shot making at this point.
Calls for catch it. And again, we see a low full toss doing the trick. That's going to be the second one down. Mahik Desai into the attack, and she's picked up a wicket. You could just sense that pressure building. The runs weren't coming. They had to do something. Unfortunately, for the Waves, it's resulted into their second wicket.
It's a pressure thing here. A couple of dot balls, a single, and there you go. An absolute nothing shot. At the end of the day, it was a very soft dismissal. No timing, just taking the bottom of the bat and lobbing into the hands of the mid-on fielder.
Yeah, Arpana gone for just the one run, if I'm not wrong. Just wait to confirm that with you. Yeah, gone for 1 off 6, not ideal. But it is 50 for 2. Mahik Desai, she is a star bowler on debut. 4 overs, 1 maiden, 19 dots. It's just 6 runs and 5 wickets. I'm not going to say who that was against.
I think I know. I think I know. I might bring it up when I come back on.
Isani Vagela. She's the new batter here.
Right, plenty of experience to come out to the middle. Isani Vagela played for the USA for quite a few years now, come up through the system as well. She's been part of the under-19s, part of the seniors.
There's a lot of cricket being discussed in that family, in their dinner table, I'm sure. Vatsal Vagela, her brother, has been a prominent player across multiple leagues, and that's the end of the 8th over.
51 for 2.
51 for 2.
She's also someone who has quite a lot of experience leading. She's captained the USA to the inaugural ICC Women's T20 Challenge Trophy in Rwanda very recently, actually, just in April of this year. She was also signed by the Guyana Amazon Warriors, the Women's CPL in 2022. You already mentioned the conversations that they have at the dinner table. Her brother's also been part of the national setup.
It's just so wonderful to see the amount of collaboration that's happening between Caribbean cricket in the United States and Canadian cricket. It's kind of a troika of sort of talent that goes and plays in various competitions across geography. That was a drop against the run of play, and these are the kind of chances that we have seen in the past can come back and haunt you. The most trying moments.
Ariel should be taken and is taken. Dropped the ball before, and this is an excellent catch to get the dismissal. The experience of Isani Vagela is gone. And in all sorts of trouble here with the bat. The Waves, they are going to be 3 down with that wicket.
And guess who's the most relieved out there? It's Chetna Prasad. She just dropped a sitter in a cotton ball, and the very next ball sees the back of the batter. No much damage done there.
Looking to come down the track.
Yes, she
It's
did.
the length that was the problem, and you've got to give credit to the bowler here. That length was just pulled back a smidge. She wasn't quite able to reach it. 51 for 2 after 8.2 overs.
And look at the run rate. This was hovering right about 10 and thereabouts. A couple of overs back, and now it's 6.12. It's almost dried up. It's Nikhar Doshi is there, and Captain Geetika Kodali now at the crease. But it's a bit of a mini procession of wickets. 3 down in no time, absolutely.
This is an interesting batting lineup for me because it's so different from what we saw in the first game. Excellent. Excellent delivery that. We've seen a few bowlers utilize this wind to their advantage. There was a bit of turn on that. It's coming quite sharply, but it's the bounce as well. We'll get it past the fielder. And off the mark with a single, the captain.
The previous ball was an interesting one, and they say deception is the biggest armory for spinners. And the batter was coming into the stumps, hoping the ball will go away, and it came in. That was an interesting deception there, apart from the bounce and the turn.
It's actually just the second time in all of today that we've seen that length with off spinners do that in terms of the amount of turn and bounce. When we get a chance, potentially tomorrow, we'll have to see how it continues to play tomorrow. There just seems to be a patch in that length that has allowed for a lot of grip and turn.
And comparatively, Chetna, that's the end of the over here. 9 overs gone. We'll continue that conversation. 53 for 3. Comparatively, Chetna gives a little more tweak to the ball. She's getting a little more turn, and that sometimes just the revolutions on the ball can get you more bounce. But she's a little inconsistent with that. Like the last ball here was slightly more shorter, gave a little more time to the batter to step back and play towards the mid-wicket. But generally, if she bowls her right length, it's troubled the batter so far. 15 for 1, 1 for 15 in 3 overs. She's bowled well.
What are your predictions for this game? Who's coming out on top?
What a first over from Mahek. 2 wickets. Oh no. 1 wicket, sorry. 1 wicket, sorry.
Good use of the feet. Excellent use of the feet. It's going to go all the way for a maximum. Excellent shot this.
Finally again, Nikhar gets back at task. She had lost a bit of momentum. Good to see coming down confidently and picking it up, depositing over the side screen. She needs to continue. It's always advisable that in T20 group, one of the top order batters need to play that definitive carrier role where you just continue the momentum. Once that happens, it gives a lot of momentum to the lower order batters who get a lesser time to take a look in. And Nikhar is doing this with some aplomb.
Flight it again. Straight as an arrow. It's a boundary this time. 2 deliveries, 10 runs.
A clear lesson learned. I'm sure the coach Prajit Moody would have had a lot of conversation with their batters. Play straight. And those 2 shots kind of shows that coming down the wicket and playing it straight rather than waiting on the back foot and trying to play square of the wicket, which is the one big error they had committed.
Like that. except she's managed to get bat on it and she's played it quite well. We did see a lot of wickets fall that way in the first innings, didn't we? Or the first game, I should say. Not quite the right length, hoping for extra bit of bounce when they jump onto the back foot. Ball just skidded on.
Yep.
And if you've got the ability to use your feet down the track to the spinners, it's much more effective, as we've just seen the first 2 deliveries of this over.
Once again, a back foot. The moment the batters rock onto the back foot, it creates some chance. It always creates a bit of oohs and ahs.
Hasn't found her rhythm out there, Gitika Kodali. She is struggling with the bat. She's struggling to find bat on ball. Last delivery, again, pretty good example of exactly what we're talking about. You want to try and use your feet down the track. It's just a little bit easier to get to the pitch of the ball and to time it. Again, going back, good turn off the surface. And she's made up for those 2 expensive deliveries to start in the over. Halfway point, 10 overs gone. It's 64 for 3. We are going to take a quick drinks break as well, I believe. We'll be back after a short break.
Yes, so welcome back after 10 overs, 64 for 3. We were 48 after 6, and the next 4 overs after power play has only got 16 runs with 3 wickets. So clearly there's a little bit of pressure, and of which 10 runs came just in the last over. Brian Walters is back with me here, the comm box.
It's an interesting passage of play, Sheil. The last 5 overs, 23 runs and 3 wickets. going all the way back to when you started during the power play. The power play was, oh, that is a lovely shot. That's going to run away for 4. I was about to say that because of the fact that you just saw Gitika Kodala play that shot, it feels like she needs to start pulling her team back towards the momentum that they had earlier. As you see that replay, a little bit too wide, and she stays leg side and gives herself the room to play that shot. But during the power play, they had all of 46 runs, which is an excellent start, but they've certainly slowed down since then.
She was trying to do that same thing last over, expecting a ball that would be going away from her, but it came in. But this time she was... And as we get to see the next ball, we move over to have a quick interview with some of our guests.
Welcome back to the Maiden Cricket Media Center out here. Out here I've got Siddhi and Vandana. Both of them are amazing people who are heading our volunteer group. You know, when we started this tournament, we thought it's gonna be big and we're gonna make it big, but we knew that we needed a lot of volunteers to kind of help kind of make this happen. And that's when these two amazing ladies put their hands up. And, you know, they came, amazing set of volunteers around this particular event. Siddhi, thank you for doing that. Vandu, thank you for doing that. I want to kind of ask you both on how you think your vision for this event was and how it has shaped up. First, I'll start with Siddhi.
Oh wow, it's a great question. I think I'd never expected to see something like this in Seattle area. I mean, when I say like this, what I mean is it looks so professional, it looks so colorful, it looks so vibrant, right? And you see the players, like if you see right now the quality of game going on, it's amazing. So I did not expect it to have so much organization, like so much organized, like there's tents for players and there's separate areas for organizers, and feels really very well done. So thank you.
Yeah. Hey, vibrant colors are Seattle Orcas. Just wanted to remind you, we have got great colors. Vandu.
Yeah. You know, I'm just letting this sink in. For years, our girls have been sitting and watching the boys' games happen across the country. And, you know, I see several of these young girls who would be part of these tournaments where the boys would be there and they would be going handing out water to the boys. And we have boundary boys today, which is really cool.
And that's a wicket. That's a wicket. Let's take a break. Let's.
And that's a wicket that certainly the Waves were not expecting to hit them, and they lose their skipper.
That's what I'm going to.
That's a big wicket.
Big wicket.
Goes dancing down the track, Gitika Kodali, and was never in position to play that shot that she was attempting. The ball was very wide. She came straight down the wicket as opposed to going across to the line. And no chance of getting anywhere near that. And of course, a pretty straightforward stumping. Here you see it on the replay. That just tells the story. She'll be disappointed in that, Gitika Kodali. And that just opens the door to pull things back just a little bit more. But Tarunam Chopra is now at the crease. You saw what she did this morning. Sounds like we're about to go back to the media center for yet another interview. We'll be right back and we go back to the media center.
Let's continue our conversation with Vandana and Siddhi. Vandu, we were saying that boys are carrying water for a girls' game. That's unique. That's not happened before. Yeah.
That's really good. I love this flipping of the scripts. You know, and as we walked in today, some of the parents walked in this morning and they said, you know what? I'm pinching myself to see whether this is true, to have such a high caliber game happening here. And this is the third of the women's tournaments happening in a period of 2 months here in Seattle. And this has definitely raised the bar. And I didn't expect anything less from you, Jagan, because I've seen you do this several times before. But yeah, I am proud of being here to help in any sort of way and contribute here to raise the bar for the women.
Amazing. I should remind everyone, Vandu is our first original, the OG cricket mom. You know, she was for the very first cricket mom when we coined the term, and she basically led the whole cricket moms group for a very long time, and we had a lot of cricket moms show up. So raise hands, show up for volunteering for boys, and now we're seeing these two amazing women do it for girls as well. Thank you for all that you do, Siddhi and Vendu. We really love you both.
Yeah, we love you too.
Thank you.
So that was an eventful over from Disha, and thank you for that great conversation, Jagan. 1 over for Disha Kaveri Pakam. She picked up a wicket and just gave 4 runs. So the matters are not getting easy for Waves, Brian.
It's not getting easy. It's slowing down in terms of the overall run rate. Run rate for the entire innings is 6.17.
Yeah.
But in the last 5 overs, the run rate is 5, and they've lost 3 wickets. So they're consistently losing wickets, and that is not going the way that they would have wanted it to. So they do have some making up to do here. The current projected score, 123. It will not be very easy to accelerate from here.
Another change in bowling here. Samiksha Sivakumar, and she bowls everything. She tries off spin, leg spin, and she's been USA under 19 talent. Starts with a couple of wides.
She's also a wicket keeper and is an excellent young player, not to mention a great batter. So just a true talent coming from this side of the country, just a little bit further down the coast.
I was taking a look at the list of all the players, Brian, just getting myself up for this particular assignment. And I was telling you off air that what impresses me is the sheer all-round abilities of most of these players. They've taken this game with such passion. They've thrown themselves at all disciplines. There are bowlers who bowl fast and spin, batters. They've done also wicket keeping, like you mentioned. Samiksha, she does everything. It's incredible thing to see, this talent pipeline that's coming up, which has got perspectives of all facets of the game. Clearly trying some leg spin out here. That flight sort of underscores that point, keeping things tidy despite those 2 wides.
Well, you like the fact that she's flighting it, and in a vacuum, that's accurate, but then the wind has switched direction. It's coming very strongly now from the north. So you're asking the batters to hit into the wind, so you don't mind her flighting it at all. Put the challenge on the plate of the batters and ask them to hit into the wind. So far, they're not taking the bait, but that's the reason why you bring her on and have these slow loopy deliveries coming from the northern end.
Valuable insight out there. That was very close. In fact, one would question, was there a jump, a timely jump that Samiksha could have made to grab that? Because a couple of more wickets, that would have completely done game, set and match for this batting of the Waves. We know that they are a very competent bowling and fielding outfit. We saw that in the first game. So while they would have, their ambition or aspiration would have been to go on 50, end of 13, 80 for 4. Like they said in the toss, they might be aiming for 150. That might be slightly distant at this point, and I might be too soon in calling that. But even in case they get to 120, 125, we've seen they have the ability to defend that kind of total. With that perspective, the Blazers should catch everything that come their way, and that to me was relatively easier opportunity that they could have asked for. Taranum Chopra, who's just come in, she had a good outing in the first game with the ball, picked up a couple of wickets. Manali called this is such a different batting lineup than what we saw for the Waves in the first game. They did rethink their strategy a bit, but at present they've kind of hit a little bit of a stutter.
Well, it's all been anchored so far by Nikardoshi, and it does feel like it comes down to her as to whether or not they can threaten that 150 that we talked about earlier, or whether they land somewhere around 110, 120. The bowling in the last several overs has been excellent, and it's going to be up to the one set batter Nikardoshi, 49 from 34. It feels like it comes down to her to be able to accelerate.
Every single shot going straight to the field at this point. Taranum Chopra, and this is one mistake they've done. All the new batters who come in and they've taken a lot of balls to get started, and that's put a lot of pressure on Nikardoshi to kind of manufacture their big shots. The least they can do is take singles like this and keep her on strike. That'll keep the momentum going. At this point, they're not able to do that. Excitement around the ground as Nikardoshi could be the first batter to score a half century in this competition. That's a bit of a pedestrian fielding misjudge, and that brings us the half century for Nikardoshi, and her team's cheering up quite appropriately. Fantastic innings. So she had a pretty forgettable outing the previous game. For her to come back and play the innings of such character speaks a lot about her cricketing abilities.
Well, she's an excellent batter, Nikardoshi, and she again would have been disappointed at her effort this morning. Got out relatively cheaply, but came back very strongly here, and she's not done yet. 50 from 35, 7 fours, and a 6. That is the end of over number 14. The score is 84 for 4.
Giovanna's loss has been a big one for Bellevue Blazers.
It's a big one, and it's concerning because it's the first day of the tournament. She's your captain, she's your leading strike bowler, so you want her to be able to lead from the front. And so we'll just hope and pray that she is going to be healthy.
And more than that, the context of the game, Brian, she's from the area. She is an ambassador of talent here. She has been an ambassador for Orcas, who are the think tank behind this tournament. She would have wanted to have a more encouraging and more energizing presence. So that's the last thing that she would have liked for. I just wish her the very best that she can get ready and probably start taking part in this game itself and for the rest of the tournament.
Now,
Mehek is back. Mehek is on the third over now, 15 for 1.
I don't know that I would force her back into this game. I'd want to make sure that whatever is happening with her physically, that she gets to the end of the day and heals up the way that she needs to and comes back strong the rest of the way. I think she's too important to attempt to force back into action today. And again, as a pace bowler, just seeing how her inability to run in and bowl this morning, that would be something that would concern me.
Just a single there again. Things coming in ones, in singles and extras at this point. The run rate is hovering around that 6 mark, 88. They would have wanted to go to be beyond 100 at this point.
Well, that dot ball is important because for the first time the run rate is now below 6. 5.9, so the projected score all the way down to 119. It was not too long ago that we were saying the projected score was up in the 180s.
One of the things that's up in the air, and once again, grass down, a chance that the Waves would take it with glee. They wouldn't have wanted a wicket, let alone Nikhar Joshi to be the wicket here. The most interesting part, Brian, as we come to the end of 15, it's 90 for 4, is that we have not seen Sanvi Sood yet. She scored 48 last game, so she's still in the dugout there.
Oh, we'll see what
so
happens.
incredible last 5 overs coming up.
Last 5 indeed. It will be interesting. 90 for 4. So the last 5 overs will be interesting. 90 for 4, 15 overs into this innings. Exactly run a ball is the scoring rate. This is pulled away into the deep. Excellent effort, but in vain ultimately, and it goes away for 4. So that's a very positive way to start over number 16 as we say hello once again to Manala Patel. Almost said to Mahek Desai. Hello Mahek Desai, how are you?
I don't quite know if she knows that she's going to be in this role yet. But I'm good, and what a shot that was. Excellent shot of authority. Great to see that Nikhar's been able to turn her start up at the top into half century as well. It's probably the best thing that could have happened for them, isn't it? To still have that opener who's set and has a half century under belt now, still out there.
She absolutely has. And Taranum Chopra herself, who picked up a player of the match honors this morning. These two can go on and put in 5 overs, you would think 45 or 50 runs. So you're not out of the woods yet. Hammered toward deep extra cover and a bit of an ordinary effort ultimately proves unsuccessful. Aaliyah Lane will want to have done better than she did there, but that's another boundary.
Well, as a bowler, that's very frustrating. That's not the effort that you expect from your fielders, especially the ones that are boundary riders. Your boundary riders are supposed to be able to stop that. Low full toss, it was asking to be hit, and she's done really well to use her feet to this. And that's one part of the game that's really stood out in this game compared to the first. It's the footwork from the batters. They've realized going back isn't quite as effective. Going towards the ball down the track is more effective. Actually did have that conversation with the coach of the Waves as well in between the 2 games. He said, yeah, we've reevaluated, we're going to speak about this and try and put it into play for the second game.
Now, if I were to find or attempt to manufacture an excuse for Aaliyah Elaine, that's a great delivery. And they're ending up stealing a bye, I believe. So if I were to manufacture an excuse for Aaliyah Elaine, is that she was running to her left, and her left is her weaker side. So it becomes much more difficult to field when you're attempting to stop a ball on the ground to your weaker side. But having said that, I think your point is valid. The bowler would have wanted a better effort in the deep than that. A very productive over here on the way, though. 10 from it so far with 2 balls to come. gone. She went running down the track, and the big fish has been dismissed with 100 up. The last ball of over number 16 sees the back of Nikardoshi, 101 for 5.
She's played so well. Exceptional innings this. 58 off 41 deliveries, was looking to use her feet again down the track. The issue that she's run into though is the pitch of the ball and then just having to look to turn the ball into the leg side. Had she held her shape, had she held her position to go down the track, she would have been in a much better place to get some bat on that. Got to give her credit though, it was a really good innings that's come to an end. 16 overs gone, 101 for 5. There, just heaving across the line as she came down the track. Lost balance as well. The head started to fall over. And I suppose when it's in the business end of an innings, your idea is you want to go for those shots. But there's that head falling over and everything's just sort of followed it.
To me, there was an element of premeditation about the shot, almost like she was committed to coming down before she saw where the ball was landing. And the reason why she wants to hit in that direction is because the wind again is coming now from the north. And so she wanted to hit that up in the air and have the ball be carried by the wind. But she ultimately picked the wrong ball to try to attack. So she'll be disappointed with that. Starting now over number 17. It's going to be back to Aaliyah Lane. Bang on target here. You want those full and straight ones at this stage of the innings.
It's going to be an interesting time as well, isn't it, for the Waves? They needed the set batter out there for these last 4 overs. They've now got a new batter out there. And it's at a time where they need to try and find those boundaries more often.
Well, Nikardoshi found the boundaries very easily. Maybe not easily, but 8 fours in the 6. So she really looked the part while she was batting. Taranum Chopra does have 4 and 6 hitting ability, as does Yashaditi Teki, but particularly Yashaditi Teki typically takes a little bit of time to get going. So you absolutely lose the advantage of having the attacking player, attacking set player in the Nikardoshi. To me, that makes about a 20 or so run difference swing. Play into the leg side. He'll pick up a single here, but the strike rates have picked up in the last several overs, Manali. It was lagging around the 4.5 for a while. The last 5, not counting the over that we're in, strike rate has just gotten above a run a ball. 31 runs in the last 5, but they've lost 2 wickets in that time frame. So it's going to be up to them to try to sort of continue to build on that strike rate without losing any more wickets. And to me, the big wicket now is going to be Taranum Chopra.
Lost all shape on that. And there will be pressure on Taranum Chopra because she is the one who is now going to be expected to continue this push of runs.
Of course, Aaliyah Lane doing what you expect her to do as a senior international player. Slapped down to long on. So you're doing it in singles at this stage. You're down to the last 21 balls of the innings. Can you put yourself in the position to where you score 30, another 30, maybe 35 runs in the last 21 balls? Time will tell, but it's going to be very difficult from here, I would think. In the air toward the leg side, should just be 1, I would imagine. Bit of a fumble, and that will be something else that irritates the fielding side because you don't want to concede additional runs where there should not be any. Shubi Agrawal that time guilty of that fumble in the outfield that allowed that second run.
just the one delivery to come, Brian. Maybe you can answer this in the next over. But how many wicket keepers would you say are in the setup in the US?
37. I have no idea. I don't know.
I mean, the reason why I ask you, you've got about 500 active players.
Uh-huh.
And of the 500 active players, you take the 3 teams that we have here in this tournament. Each team does have a couple of different options. 17 overs gone, 107 for 5. Each of them has a couple of keeping options on their side. And it's a debate that we actually, I shouldn't even call it a debate, it's a conundrum that we have up north in Canada. We just don't have enough keepers. We don't have enough quality keepers, and we don't really know how to develop them.
It's interesting. The number, you're exactly right. We were talking earlier about Samiksha Sivakumar. She is playing as a bowler and a fielder today, but she also keeps. There are multiple keeping options for each of these 3 teams, and this represents the best of the teams in the country.
Okay, so I've just actually received a reply from Meeta Chaudhry. Thank you, Meeta, for listening. 6 U19 plus wicketkeepers minimum. Remaining are 3 plus, less than 15-year-olds. I'm so glad that you've got this knowledge, Meeta. Thank you. Please continue to share whatever you can.
That is Mitali Chowdhury from our part of the world. Prairie View, Texas is where her daughter Tia Chowdhury plays. And Tia, as that is struck away for 4, just got back from Grand Cayman last week playing for the successful US U19 side.
Yeah, she did actually message me about that. She said, my daughter was part of that squad, and excellent to see this boundary as well. Into the leg side, in the gap, past the fielder, and it's going to race away for 4 runs. Need a few more of those from here on the waves.
Absolutely. So Yashaditi Teki, as I mentioned, is key. She typically takes some time to get going, but that was a lovely 4.
It's quite incredible, isn't it, though, for the US to now qualify for 3 under-19 World Cups in a row. And they're well and truly ahead of the region when it comes to that department.
I mean, I hope that this does not sound like simply lip service just because we're here and we're covering a women's tournament. The talent level for women in this country, maybe slightly to a lesser extent to our wonderful neighbors up north, is such that it would not take a lot to have this team be in the upper echelon of teams in the world. And that sounds like a big statement, but to me there is talent that is here that is worth exploring. So you have a long way to, maybe not a long way to go. You have 15 balls remaining, and in 15 balls with the score of 113, you would think that 130 could potentially be on the cards, particularly if Tarnum Chopper can play a blinder here in the last 15 balls. In the air, is it going to carry? Boy, it was very, very early that Elaine decided she was not going to be able to get to that. Manala Patel, I'm interested in your reaction.
I think you know exactly what my reaction is going to be. Losing shape, not out of the middle, in the air for a long time. This should have been taken. This should have absolutely been taken. This is where your fielders need to have the awareness to be able to react faster, and they've got to have the agility to be able to take those chances.
I'll end up pinching a single here. That is, to me, evidence that it's not just the talent level that you're looking for, you're also looking for the effort. And I don't want to sound like I'm being critical, and you and I had covered it earlier when we off the air, the outfield is a little bit rough, but you would think that that would have been one that could potentially have been taken. So she'll have to re-bowl that one ball remaining here still in over number 18. Oh, scoop. Doesn't quite get it the way that she wanted to, Taranum Chopper. But a single nonetheless. 10 runs coming from over number 18. A productive one. End of 18, 1-1-7 for 5. So we're into the penultimate over. The penultimate over will be bowled by Elia Eileen, who's bowling her final over. Goes for the Yorker. Ends up with a low full toss that's punched down the ground. So, Manali, you have another 11 balls to go in this innings. What are you looking for here from Taranum Chopra and Yashadi Titeki in a partnership that is now worth 17?
Well, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter in terms of wickets. They've got 5 wickets in hand. I would love to see some aggression from these two. They've got 1.5 overs to go. They need to try and find the boundary.
Well, you like seeing full and straights. Big grunt from Aliyah Lane also as she released that one. So she's putting the effort in, and I think it was evident that she has the ability to bowl those deliveries right in the block hole and essentially be very difficult to score off of. To me, over number 20 will be the interesting one. Who is going to bowl over number 20? You have several choices, but no strike bowler. All the other choices to bowl are spinners, and that spinner will be bowling from the end that will essentially ask the batters to hit with the wind. So it is going to be a really interesting over. As difficult an over as this one is, potentially over number 20 could be much more enterprising.
What do you reckon is going to be par score?
Par is hard to tell. If you're asking me where they'll end up in this game, I would think 132.
130.
132. Struck down the ground. I believe that's Disha Dingra down there, who I think decided relatively early that she was not going to be able to get to that. The reason I think 130, remember, you're missing your best strike bowler. The captain, Giovanna Aras, is not able to bowl. All the other bowlers are spinners. Maybe you have a little bit of seam with Janely Glasgow, so maybe she bowls over number 20, but you're missing a strike bowler, and the batting will be coming from the north to start over number 20, and they'll be hitting with the wind, so it could potentially get very expensive. Good looking shot, but the field is set in such a way that cuts off the opportunities for boundaries on the leg side. So good bowling, given the situation, given the field.
This is the challenge, isn't it? When you cannot find the boundary, the singles are not going to bother them too much. But there is batting. We haven't seen Amarpal Kaur come in yet. She opened the batting in the first game. It has been an interesting batting lineup for me in this game.
As well bowled. Pace off and in the block hole. But to me, importantly, it will be Taranum Chopra to be on strike to start over number 20. This is the over that I predict is going to go for around 8 to 10 runs. We'll see if that holds up. Just 5 runs coming from over number 19, though. End of 19, 1-2-2 for 5.
So you're saying they're going to score 10 runs off this over with your prediction of 132?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yep. And it is going to be, in fact, Janely Glasgow who bowls over number 20. I'm expecting 10 runs from this over.
I'm expecting 5.
5! Okay, once again, this is a Brian versus Manala matchup.
I think that's going to hit my 5 prediction right there. Excellent delivery. It's a Yorker. It's exactly what you need in the death overs.
There is nothing she could have done with that. Absolutely nothing.
Well, she did manage to get her toe out of the way.
Clipped away. That's 4 of them. That is lovely. So the length was good, but the line was too straight. 4 down to backward square leg.
Right, so I've got now 1 run to work with as per my prediction of 5 in the over. Come on, Janelia. I do believe in you.
Taranum Chopra, whose head coach or whose coach is, I mentioned it earlier, Jaskaran Malhotra, Mr. 6 Sixes. top edge, and it's running away down the hill. This will be close to the boundary. Couple of runs. So it feels to me, Manali Patel, like you're out of the running.
Well, we'll see
Three
what's up
balls
there.
remaining. 3 balls remaining. Score is 128 for 5. What's my number? Remind me what my number was.
Hat trick.
Hat trick. Hat trick. Played down the ground. They'll settle for 1. And so it will not be a hat trick. Will it be 2? The score is 129 for 5. Manali Patel.
I must say this is a good effort with the bat in this final over, though. Capitalized on the poor delivery on the second delivery of the over, and they needed to get that boundary away.
Well, kept it out of the hitting arc. That is a great piece of bowling. It feels like the final score will be right between your prediction and mine. So
I'll take it as a win.
how is that? How is that a win exactly?
It's about a mindset, Brian. Come on now.
The last ball coming up here in this first innings. You asked about par. I don't know what par is because it feels like, I'd say, based on what I've seen so far, a score of 135 to 140 is probably what you can expect. But here's the last ball. Bowled around her legs. It does not come to fruition. 7 runs come from over number 20. And that last delivery, you can look at me all you want, Manali Patel, because your score has already been exceeded. But bigger picture, 129 for 6 is where the Washington Waves end up.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're going to feel like they've had a good day with the bat. They've had some good moments with the bat. This was the final one, looking to go across deep in her crease as well, just misses the ball, and it is the stumps that have been clattered. It also means that Janelle Glasgow picks up her second wicket to end the innings. 129 for 6 in the 20 overs. And as I mentioned, those little positives in the batting lineup. We'll take a quick look at this batting card. 130 is what they need, though, when we come back.
Well, it'll be interesting because the batting card, I think, told the story. Nikardoshi, as you see here, Manali, 58 from 41, led the charge.
She was outstanding. 8 fours, the 1-6 as well. She led this side from the top all the way down to almost the end of the 20th over. Handy 12 from Jazara Claxton. They'll need a few more from her as this tournament progresses. Need more from that middle order, though. It doesn't help to have just the 2 runs coming off from your middle order batters. But a good finish at the end by Chopra, again in good nick. 27 off 30. It's the late push that they needed. They get to 129 for 6. It's a bit short from their prediction about 150. But it's all going to come down to how they can defend the bowling, on the other hand.
I think the bowling was good in spots and then very good at the death. 2 wickets each for generally Glasgow and Dishaka Verapakam. And economic bowling for me from Aliyah Lane, and the one over that Giovanna Arras bowled conceded 14 runs. So she'll be disappointed in that. But again, that's more due likely to her injury, and we hope that everything is fine there. Good, solid bowling all the way around, but there were fits and starts. I didn't think that they essentially accomplished what they wanted to with the bats. Nikardoshi again leading from the top, 58 from 41. Tandem Chopper with a good 27 from 30. And the bowlers there on the right side of your screen, I think, came to the party as well. So all in all, it's going to be an interesting second half of this match. We will take a break alongside the players, and we will be back shortly for the chase in somewhere around 15 minutes or so. See you soon.
Welcome back to the action. It's time for the chase. 130 required off the 120 deliveries that they have. Bellevue Blaze done decently well to limit the opposition. The Waves for 129 in their 20 overs. They've now got to finish the job with the bat. It is going to be the skipper with ball in hand, though. Gitika Kodali runs right away, and it's going to be a boundary to start the innings. This is an excellent start. And what's even more excellent about it is there's been very little manufacturing. It's just using the pace and guiding it to the boundary.
We've seen many shots today. This is going to sound almost hyperbolic. This might be the best shot we've seen all day. Just opening the face, intentionally running it behind point, and the ball races across the turf for 4. What a brilliant start with the bat for Disha Dhingra.
That's sprayed. You don't want to be doing that, especially after going for a boundary off the first delivery of your over. She did bowl very well in the first game, though. Gitika Kodali.
Obviously very experienced and leading from the front. Bowls excellently. She'll bowl a couple overs up front. You'd think that she'd also hold herself back to bowl a couple overs at the death. But she's up against a very good batter here in Disha Dhingra.
That's where the contest is pretty interesting, isn't it? They've both played for the U.S. together. They do know each other's games very well.
Disha Dhingra from the North Carolina area, as this is played into the offside, told us earlier that she just moved to Miami.
Yeah, and she works for a really cool company.
She does. So you're saying that we should stay close to Miss Kodali?
Well, I should.
Well, you're all the way in Canada, so I don't know if you can come all the way from Canada, coming all the way down to Miami.
Oh, that's right. You're still figuring out Instagram. There are other ways of keeping close. Brian Walters.
40 T20 eyes for Gitika Kodali. 25 wickets taken. She takes her wickets at an average of 23.96. Best of 3.25 or 3 for 25, and in economy rates, bowling in the power play and at the death, her economy rate of 6.03. So very, very good bowler by any standard, and is truly a brilliant player. Debuted in May of 2019 at the age of 14. So she absolutely is a brilliant bowler, and she's corrected things after a bit of an expensive start in this over.
It's about that dot ball pressure, isn't it? Again, it's just the start of the innings, but you want to try and create as much dot ball pressure as you can. 123 required off 115, which already means that they need more than run a ball.
Well, you don't have a whole lot of runs to play with. You did not get the 150 that you were looking for. So you're going to try to find a way to build some pressure. And as you mentioned, dot balls is the best way of doing that.
A dot to end the over. The first one gone. It's 8 for none. Amarpal Kaur into the attack. Picked up 2 wickets earlier in the day. And starts very well, just missing the outside edge. Pretty interesting that she didn't have a bat today, isn't it, in the second game?
It is interesting.
Thick outside edge. Just lands short of the fielder, and that could have been cleaner of a pickup.
What I find even more interesting is the fact that she's bowling from the end that allows the batter to hit with the wind down the ground. So it's a bit of a roll of the dice. You're essentially tempting the batters to hit in the air, but Disha Dhingra has never met a ball in the slot that she did not want to hit out of the ground. So pay attention to this matchup.
Down the ground. Will clear the fielders as well, and this is an excellent shot down the ground. A couple of bounces, 4. That's exactly where you want to be targeting, especially when it comes to the spinners.
Well, your fielders in the deep are at long on and mid wickets. And so you have to be straighter than that. Anything that allows Disha Dhingra to hit over the top of the offside is a dangerous delivery. And now there's a change in the field as long off is going back. So you have a deep mid wicket, really like a cow corner, and that long off. So you're trying to essentially cover 2 different types of lines.
She's made the adjustment with the fielder, but unfortunately, Disha Dhingra is a bit smarter. She said, I'm going to go wider. Taking the fielder on at long off, goes wider, and does manage to find the boundary again.
Well, it's a good piece of batting because this ball was not quite as wide as the previous one, but she still stays leg side of the ball, Disha Dhingra, and helps herself to 4 over the offside.
Off the edge this time, and just a single.
So it's a bit of a frenetic start, isn't it? Just 11 deliveries into this innings. You already have 18 runs on the board.
Very slow through the air this time. And a single to end the over. 2 overs gone, 19 for none. There's a big difference in the way they've approached scoring runs in the second game compared to the first one. And it's the intent for me that's changed drastically.
Can I interest you in a very interesting stat? End of over 2, score is 19 without loss. When the Washington Waves batted, do you know what the score was after 2? 19 without loss. Neck and neck. Is this one going to come down to the 19th or the 20th over?
They're going to need someone to put their hand up and try and pull off a half century, aren't they? Because a lot of that came down to that half century in that first innings. There's the comparison. Fairly neck and neck. Squeezed. Squeezed through into the gap, and this is going to run away for 4 more.
This is proper batting. This is not a bad ball. Look at this. It is on 4th stump, and just a raised front arm angled bat, and that ball races through backward point for 4. This is truly expert stuff. That time from Mahek Desai.
Well, excellent comeback. Gitika Kodali says, you think you can pierce the gap and put me for 4? Let me bring out the toe crusher.
Going stump hunting that time. Gitika Kodali aiming at the base of middle stump, but Mike Desai equal to the task.
It's a good contest, isn't it? This is what you want. High up in the air, and again, just short of the fielder. I am a little disappointed with the standard of catching. And I don't know if I could call it catching because it's not an attempted catch.
On this occasion, I will say that this catch is out of the reach of Jazara Claxton, who is
Really?
a brilliant fielder. I don't know if we'll have the time to go back and look at that. This is over her head, skied in the air. She's running backwards, so this is going to be over her head. If she pulls off that catch, she is playing in the wrong league. She should be playing way higher levels than this. But it's not the best, cleanest of shots. But I don't think there is criticism, full criticism, for some catching efforts from today. But I don't think that was one of them. But then again, we've always said you're a hard grader on your fielders.
Good comeback. It's 2 dot balls, trying to make up for that early boundary in the over as well. It's always tough as a bowler when you get put away for a boundary off your first delivery. You're playing catch up for the rest of the over. Just needs to finish strong here with this last delivery. And she does just that. 3 overs gone, 24 for none. Washington Waves pick up a win today. In this second game, they'll be on top of that table. Pressure will be very minimal on them. On the other hand, the Raptors will be watching this game. They want to make sure that they still have a bit of even Stevens on the table.
So this bowling change is an interesting one to me. Ira Mahindra, who is a local player, all of 15 years old, Monali. Starts with a full toss that is crashed away for 4. It's a really good looking shot, so she'll want to pitch these deliveries. But I like her approach to the crease. And at age 15, obviously just starting to learn her craft. Not the best of starts in terms of where the length of that ball was, but I like her approach.
That's going to be wide. Not the right line, I should say. See the plan though that she has. She wants to try and keep it away from the swinging arc, try and keep it away from the bat. Just needs to be a little bit closer.
I like the length on this second delivery and the line on the first delivery. Correct those two, in other words, get something with the length of the second delivery and the line from the first. That's where she wants to be.
Oh, she did try to correct the line. Unfortunately, she's overcorrected on this occasion. That's going to be 5 wides.
Yeah, it's very unforgiving work sometimes, being a bowler who can't quite get the line right. And this one sprayed down the leg side. So she started out with a very expensive over here. Already 10 runs coming from it with just 1 legal ball bowled. It's an interesting field too, because you're still in the power play. There's a square leg and a backward square leg. Well, let's call it a mid wicket and a backward square leg. So the line is almost intentionally having to be on the stumps. So that means you cannot err in terms of width, but you also can't be too full because you can be driven down the ground. So you're asking this young lady to do a lot here.
This is an area that I find both of these teams have done very well. Just being able to squeeze out the singles and doubles. The rotation of strike has been decent.
You like how fast this partnership has started? Scoring at the rate of 10.29 and over, where the required rate is only 5.7. So you're less than a run a ball required the rest of the way.
So here there's a pretty big hiking scene here in Seattle with bears. Might need some bear spray for that. But apparently very scenic. What a catch that is! That is outstanding from the keeper. Thick outside edge. It was dying to her right as well. Outstanding dive, outstanding work, and it's going to be the breakthrough that they needed. That's going to be the first one down.
Aparna Gurmurthy, the keeper, and she dives away to her right. We were just talking in relatively, let's call it, less than complimentary fashion about the standard of catching, but you will not get a better one than this. Look at this thick outside edge, off the cute end of the bat almost, and she takes that absolutely brilliantly. Looking at that replay, in baseball you call that a snow cone job, where the ball just looks like a snow cone at the very top of the gloves. This, to me, is evidence of, number one, a great piece of keeping, but also evidence that the young lady who we talked about with the ball in her hand, Ira Mahindru, gets the ball on the right line. We said she could not be too wide. That one was not too wide. And we also said that the length should be fuller. She accomplished both of those, and she's rewarded with a wicket. So Shruti Agarwal comes to the crease, all of 15 years old, and her coach Clint Copeland down the coast in Northern California will be watching this with great interest. Clint Copeland from the wonderful country of Trinidad and Tobago.
4 overs gone, 36 for 1. Needed that breakthrough, didn't they? Needed to pick up a wicket.
They absolutely needed the wicket, and it's always very encouraging, particularly for a young player, when they've started an over very expensively, to come back and find success in that same over. So that will be something that essentially allows her to get a lot of confidence. And you certainly don't find things any easier. Disha Dhingra is very dangerous. 15 from 12, she's just getting warmed up. But I will tell you that things get better once you start taking wickets, and that's what you've had here.
Starts with a dot. Tarnam Chopra.
We've seen what she did with the bat earlier on. Also a very handy bowler, Tarnam Chopra.
Bowling a good line here. Just getting the batter to fish outside the off stump.
Two the deep down at long on and mid wicket.
Leg side. And does very well in the deep to keep this inside. I believe that's Amarpal Kaur in the deep.
It's a very good piece of fielding. And so essentially she saves 2 runs. Don't ever know how important these 2 runs will be at this stage of the innings, but you like the effort. Really well done.
Pressure. Just starting to pull that momentum back towards their side. The Blazers. We see wickets do that often. Very slow through the air this time. She does that really well. Variation of pace. in combination with bowling in the right area. She bowls probing lines as well. Heaved into the leg side. And again, protection in the deep. Amarpal Kaur is just going to keep it to a single. That's going to round off the over as well. 5 overs gone. It is 39 for 1.
Well, that's something you don't see very often. The gentleman all the way to the right, I mentioned earlier about what you call in baseball a snow cone catch. Look at that waving the gloves. Absolutely lovely. Oh, was that raising the roof? That looked like raising the roof there. And that is more of what you want to see. If you're anywhere near in the Monroe area, in fact, the man seated to my immediate left, Sheil Majumdar, can tell us more about exactly where we are, but it is absolutely free to come out and watch this match, so please feel free to come watch high-level cricket, as it's going to be the last over of the power play, and it will be bowled here by, I believe, this is going to be Amarpal Kaur. Sheil, what do you make of the first 5 overs?
It started quite at a breakneck pace and then seems to have tapered down. That's been the kind of trajectory we have been seeing through the day. I think the Waves would be happy with what they've done in the last couple of overs, pulling things back. The run rate was at one point hovering around that 10-ish mark. We are still in the power play and they've managed to bring it down to under 8. Now it's 7.74. So they would be happy. A couple of more wickets here. They would be very interested indeed.
So protection in the deepest straight, long on and long off.
Oh.
Beautiful delivery, full and straight, and the base of middle stump is knocked back. So that is the first, make that the second wicket that has fallen. Amarpal Kaur does the trick, and it is Shubhi Agrawal who's knocked back. The score is 40 for 2.
Amarpal Kaur, Brian, she brings a reputation to this particular competition. She has the best average, 10.17 coming in, which speaks a lot that she picks up wickets at a fairly prompt, quick clip, and she is not disappointed. She did the same in the first game, picked up the MVP award, and here we are. She's already in the action, picking up a wicket. The Waves are certainly in. We have seen that they defended very well the previous game. They know that part of the game very well. Their bowlers are in the thick of things. What I really liked about Geetika Kudali was what she did with what you mentioned about the young bowler, Ira. She was the only bowler in the previous game who just bowled 1 over that went for 15 runs. Despite that, Geetika brought her back in this game. She went for a few runs, but in the end picked up a wicket, and a wicket that really was a meaningful one, and ended up regaining her confidence. That's going to do a world of good to this team. Now they're 2 wickets done. They've sniffed a bit more opportunity here. It's really interesting to see how they fan out from here.
Well, it will be the International General League Glasgow. And left-handed batter. It will be an interesting matchup here. Amarpal Kaur around the wicket. And she'll be looking to take the attack here with 4 balls remaining in the power play to the bowling unit. Make that 3 balls remaining in the power play. So it's going to be an interesting matchup the rest of the way. This is the part of the innings where it gets a little tricky. Run rate required around a run a ball. Disha Dhingra over the top for 6. That is a lovely strike. That is her pet shot, and it goes all the way.
She's playing in another planet, Brian. Perfectly. The pressure is going up, and she cool and calm just waits for the right ball. This was right in the slot. Bends a knee, gets under it, and times it to perfection. over that deep extra cover boundary fence for a massive 6.
Well, that's lovely. That's absolutely lovely. Changing the line of attack now, going around the wicket. Run out opportunity. Disha Dhingra, a little bit too eager to try to get that single. She might consider herself lucky there.
Slight miscalculation there.
So the last ball coming up in the power play. This will be an interesting one because, yes, you have the opportunity to be more defensive in the field after this ball, but you don't want to be too defensive because the required rate is now back under a run ball. So a single ever ball still wins this game for the Bellevue Blazers. In the last 85 balls to go, they only need 83 runs. So it's going to have to be a mix between caution and aggression as you get through the remainder of this match. Extra bounce to close things out. End of over number 6. 8 runs coming from it and the wickets. Power play is done and dusted. The score is 47 for 2.
The spinners still hold the key in this game, and I'll be interesting to see how they go about it. The breeze is blowing, like I said, from the northern side in, and we haven't seen too many big shots going into that side. So they've chosen the parts of the ground that they want to play the big shots in, and they've clearly got purchase whenever they play the shot with the wind.
That to me is evidence of being able to size up the conditions and adjust your game accordingly. Disha Dhingra with that shot that was just played for 6. If she plays that shot from this end, the southern end, it is hit into the wind and it likely holds up and does not carry over the ropes, and certainly would be a catching opportunity. So it's going to be very interesting to see if they continue to sort of choose their spots in that way. This is played away into the offside. Single to start, over number 7. Another over being bowled here by Taranum Chopra.
She was quite miserly in the first one. Just 3 runs. We know she can put a bit of a stranglehold on proceedings. We saw that in the first game. Understands her conditions properly, spends time putting fielders right in place and bowls to her field. That's been our strength. Once again, she is mixing it up there, Brian. After pitching, the ball is definitely doing a bit. This variation of pace.
Well, she's a very intelligent bowler, and I will tell you that the ability to switch speeds in that way is a very underrated skill. See whether or not they can continue to have that happen. Trying to force this off the back foot here. Generally Glasgow not able to get anything on it. So it will be interesting to see whether or not Generally Glasgow, who is now just 2 from 2, can continue to build some sort of momentum toward joining, maybe not stroke for stroke with Disha Dhingra, who's very aggressive and who is a great player. But she's batting with an international, and do you get the point where you can essentially get to the point where you're matching her stroke for stroke? It's just 1 now, so a good over overall. Just 3 runs coming from it so far with 2 to come, and it just calms things down a touch. 50 up, by the way, with that single. And it'll really be interesting to see whether or not she tosses the carrot out there and asks Disha Dhingra to hit into the wind. This is smart. This is really smart batting. Just making herself a little bit of room, and that likely should have been stopped in the offside or on the offside. Isana Vagela not able to get her body behind that one, and it goes away for 4.
Fielding is such a crucial component of this game sometimes. That was a very suboptimal effort considering the situation they're in. Every single stoppage like that not just pegs the opposition back, but also dents them in terms of confidence. It was a well-timed shot. If it had stopped, would have hurt Disha about her the way she was going, hurt her momentum. She would try to do something out of ordinary next over, but that boundary sort of eases that pressure.
Well, that's the end of over number 7. 54 for 2. 76 needed from the next 78 balls, so still a running ball wins this game for you. And it will now be Janely Glasgow back on strike. And the young lady again, Ara Mahindra. Well,
She's got to get a little bit of a grip on the wide walls. Otherwise, she has a pretty handy, energetic action running in. She gets a lot of momentum when she takes a leap at the crease. It's just a line after that, and sometimes you tend to have one plan at the top of your mark and probably change it midway.
In the air, and it will run away for 4. Maybe again that line just not quite right, and an international player will not miss out on that opportunity to score runs through the offside.
Intentionally played up in the air, but completely in an unprotected gap. And one interesting thing, one time watching an international game, an Indian game, and a bowler continued to do this kind of errors of wides and all that, and his captain, MS Dhoni, at that point of time, he
Slammed. That is a lovely stroke for 4. That is really a high-class shot. And this, to me, is the difference between a bowler who is just learning her craft, bowling to a batter who is at the top of her game at the international level. 4 more.
2 incredibly good shots. Played with calm head. Since the time she's come in, Janelle has waited. She's defended the ball, didn't go hunting for unnecessary runs. And these 2 balls, and waited for those to come in the slot and timed them beautifully and nicely. True cricketing shots, 2 boundaries. So to continue that story, and the whole qualm of the captain was that the bowler had a plan right on top of the mark, but was executing something which was completely different. So he would change the plan on the way, and his advice to the bowler was, don't worry about what the consequence is going to be. That's my job. Your job is to make sure that you focus on the controllable, which is make a plan and deliver on that one. If it goes for boundary, good enough, but stay focused. And I think this is Ira's moment of growth here. She's getting great opportunity to play against some internationals.
Very full on both of those occasions, both hitting the pad, essentially pitching or hitting outside the line of leg stump. So no threat of it being a leg before, but you've cut down the opportunities for her to score through the offside. So that is a good adjustment, and more the development that you're referring to, Shield, because the first 2 were too wide and they were put away. The last 2, I think, were more in line with being able to keep the batter quiet. Similar delivery again. So she's hit her on the pad 3 times in a row. Now, you don't always want to bowl at the pads. You want this ball to be more on the line of off stump. But she's gotten away with it. Essentially, she's switched at this point to Yorker mode.
More importantly, 3 dot balls there. So that will do a world of confidence for her. The fact that she's aiming at a particular length, she's able to execute her plans well. There's certainly a ploy there. They've found probably a little indication that Janelle might not be so comfortable with things coming into her pads.
Great way to end the over. Very expensive. 9 from the first 2 legal balls, but 4 dot balls the rest of the way. That is excellent stuff from the young lady from Seattle, Ara Mahindra, with an over that's not going to look as good on paper, but the close to that over to me was the key. End of over number 9. Make that over number 8. The score is 63 for 2.
Super excited to see what this competition pans out over the next 3 days. The wind predictor at this point on your screen. clearly shows.
Ah,
57%.
interesting.
57% in favor of Bellevue Blazers.
And by no means am I going to attempt to suggest that that win predictor is on the screen because of me. But it was in a tournament, and it was the Houston Open several weeks ago, where I suggested that we did not have the technology to have a win predictor. Well, here we do have the technology to have a win predictor, and that win predictor shows the Bellevue Blazers with a 57% chance of winning, and I don't know that I disagree.
57-43 is still pretty close. The way it started, and probably would have been 75-25-ish, if not more.
Okay, that feels excessive. That feels excessive.
No, when probably they were going at about 30 runs in 10 overs, in 3 overs, with the way they were batting. It's a math at the end of the day. Of course, after that, once the wickets fall, things tend to become a little more real. Shadati starting her bowling effort for this particular game.
Shaditi Teki, a very smart bowler.
They've clearly found a chink in Janelle's armor here, and they're not giving her any room. They're bowling her into the line that comes closer to her body, and she's definitely finding it a little tough to get away with. Interesting to see what she does here.
Slapped into the leg side for a single, you would imagine. You're very accurately pointing out the fact that generally Glasgow scores more easily when the ball is outside the line of off stump. When she's able to free her arms and play those cut shots or those drives through the offside, she's much more dangerous. Keeping it closer to her is a little bit more tricky.
Having said that, 2 balls that were easier for the batters to get away with. Shadati. We saw when the Bellevue Blazers were bowling, it's that middle phase of when Mehak and Chetna bowled. They got a lot of momentum squeezed out of the waves. And then, of course, there was
Floated up there. Very flighty type of delivery from Yashaditi Teki. So ultimately a very good over. Just 3 runs coming from it. End of over number 9, 66 for 2.
.33 is their current run rate, which is very comfortably above their asking rate. So no challenge there whatsoever. If the batters can keep their calm, hold on to their wickets, wait for the bad delivery to come, they will come for sure. They can see through this game quite easily.
Adira Watt with the ball in hand to bowl over number 10. This will be her first bowl in this match. And it feels like this is the part of this match where you want to take a wicket. Specifically, you want to get rid of Disha Dhingra, who is striking it beautifully, 32 from 26. You've kept generally Glasgow quiet for the last several overs, but she can also hit it a mile, so you have to be very careful here. That length is not a length that you'll want to bowl to take wickets. That is easily put away for 4 by Disha Dhingra.
Rank loosener there. Adia Rawat, she was, if you recall the previous game, she had a mixed bag of a start, dropped a catch, expensive over, then came back and found her rhythm and also wickets. With that ball, it was ordinary.
Spelled wrong. Janelia.
Well, better ball than that first one. You know that Disha Dingra is going to want to attack, so you have to keep the ball out of her hitting zone, and you can absolutely not be too short. This one going down the leg side. The line was obviously the problem there. The length to me was a lot better, but you can't be too full to Disha Dingra because hitting with the wind, this is the end from which you can clear the straight boundaries with ease. So not a lot of margin for error. That is smashed, but directly to the fielder in the deep. Good piece of fielding. And that only cost 1 run. Sanvisu, the fielder down there on the boundary.
Leg spin from this end is going to be a tough one with the wind against it. When you give such a amount of flight, it tends to drift outside the leg stump. There's a chance of wides. We saw that with her in the previous game as well. She will try to bowl a little flatter. At this point, she's trying a bit of flight, trying to land it so that she can get the purchase and the turn. That's the length. That's the length, really.
It's the length, and it's also the line. And you cannot be any wider than that. No protection in the deep on the offside. The sweeper has been brought in off of the ropes for the left-hander here. You cannot be wide at all in the air. This is going to land safely, I believe, just in front of long on. So they pick up another single. But it's feeling now like it's becoming more and more evident that unless the Waves can figure out a way to break this partnership that is now worth 33, that things are going to become much more difficult. And the longer this pair stays there, the longer they get settled. Disha Dingra already up into the 37 range. Things can get out of control in a hurry unless you can figure out a way to take a wicket here. Tell you what, she had evil intentions on her mind, a big wind up in the swing, but it's a dot ball to finish over number 10. Halfway through the innings, I believe that we will have the final water break of the day. We will take the break alongside the players, and when we come back, there will be another 57 runs to get, 60 balls in which to get them. See you shortly.
Welcome back. A quick hydration break and back into the action. They're going really well here, the Blazers. Halfway point, 73 runs on the card, and it's thanks to the expertise of Disha Dingra, who's been the aggressor of the two batters out there, and the experience of Janelia Glasgow. 57 off 60, and you'd assume if these two batters can be out there for another 5 or so overs, it's game over.
They're not looking at trying anything out of the ordinary. They're just placing their shots well. They're just playing normal cricketing shots. Ton of experience between the two of them. They bring it all into play.
That's a loosener. And she's going to get away with it as well. Slap down the ground for a single.
She would be disappointed with that shot. She should have probably placed it anywhere that she would have liked. Likewise with Disha in the previous over, the last ball. Straight to the mid-wicket fielder with nobody behind her.
Slow through the air this time, and again protection in the deep. They won't mind the singles as long as the two of them continue to stay out there. There's plenty of batting to come as well for them, but ideally when you've got two set batters you want to expect them to finish the game. Not afraid to give it some air, and this is the challenge, where you've got all the time in the world and all the flight to be able to put it away, but you're not able to. This is strength thing. It's a confidence thing sometimes as well. Very tempting, isn't it?
It is indeed. I like last 5 or 6 balls, there were some shots that one would wonder could have potentially been placed to more outcome than just singles, but they're doing it in a way where I'm sure they were spoken amongst themselves. They're running a batter shot, assuming that Giovanna might not take the field today.
That's poor. Need to be backing up, need to be aware of this sort of play, and this is really good awareness from the batters.
Yes. It has been a bit disappointing to call it out very openly here, Monali, because Waves did a very good job in fielding in the first game. They knew they were backs to the wall. They gave it everything. There was a long stretch of almost 6 or 7 or maybe more overs where the Raptors couldn't get a boundary because they fielded everything. On this one, they've been a bit disappointing on the field.
That's going to beat the fielder. It's going to run away for 4. And that's a great way to end the over as well. In the slot. And it was stand and deliver. Fielder didn't have much of a chance on that with the pace at which it was hit at. 11 overs gone, 83 for 2.
It's increasingly looking like what you just called out an over back, Manali, that 5 more overs and this would be in the bag. They have hunkered down and ensured that no more wickets fell, got their eyes in, and now they're doing it nicely, both of them, Disha and Janelle.
Low full toss again. It's going to beat the bowler. And they pick up another single. Makes a big difference as a spinner if you pitch the ball.
Yep.
And we've just seen a few too many full tosses.
So thus far, when you look at it, all the 3 teams you've seen, each one of them have their play today. Which of the 3 to you appear to be so far the strongest or the most stable batting lineup?
That's a very good question. And based on what I've seen between the first game and this game, I'm going to have to say the Blazers. Mind you, we've not seen all of their batting lineup, but what we have seen so far is pretty promising.
I would agree with you there. Their application has been supreme. You've seen the top order batters put their hand up and take it all of responsibility.
Sloppy again through the hands, and again it's going to leak another single. You're defending a low total. You cannot afford mistakes like that.
Disha Dhingra, she is the stand-in captain, absence of Jivana. So, and she is definitely not letting this opportunity go by, wanting to take the team through.
That's an excellent shot. Up and over through the offside. Holds her ground as well. That's going to run away for 4. That is all class. Didn't move across as well. Allowed for her arms to get the room to swing. We see so often, especially the way we coach, you ask for that front foot to move across, but then you end up squeezing yourself for space. Instead, what she did was she allowed for her arms to be free by keeping that leg just wide of where that line was.
T20 internationals nowadays throw up so many players who have such good hands. Sometimes it looks very awkward, their footwork, it doesn't fit in with the old textbook styles and all of it, but their output and the impact they generate is incredible. That's exactly what Janelle Glasgow did out there.
12 gone, 91 for 2. $50-run partnership between these two, Janelle Glasgow and Disha Dhingra. Disha Dhingra also coming up to her milestone of a half-century. That required run rate of 4.88 should be worrying signs if you're a Washington Waves fan. They need wickets, they need them quick, they need to break this partnership if they're to keep themselves in this contest.
If they're not able to get another wicket in the next 5 or 6 runs, it's next 5 or 6 runs, if they don't take a wicket, especially this over, it's game over. And quite rightly, Geetika brings herself back into the attack. They need a wicket now.
Starts well as well. Pacing the innings at the moment. Bellevue Blazers. It's a skill, isn't it, to be able to pace the chase, to be able to pace if you're setting a target, the 20 overs.
Janelle Glasgow, just a moment back, was about 7 or 8, a couple of boundaries she played, and then she went into a bit of a shell. She's now suddenly on 27, so she's certainly, you don't realize it, but she had that innings kind of creeps up on you in terms of keeping herself busy on the crease. When she's not hitting the big shots, she's taking the singles. In fact, Disha Dhingra hasn't scored much in this partnership, as much as Janelle has done, and suddenly you see the required number of runs is just 39.
That's very well bowled. She does have a very good Yorker, Geetika Kodali. And she's quite consistent with it as well when she needs it. In fact, Janelle Glasgow's done really well to squeeze us out for a single.
And she'd struggled against that ball. We saw that when she was facing Ira Mohindru. She bowled 4 on the trot on that exact length. She wasn't able to get that out. This time she was able to squeeze it out for a single and get Disha on strike.
That's going to be wide. Short, wide, poor from the keeper this time. And it's going to race away for 5 wides. Going from bad to worse, unfortunately, for the Waves.
That ball right there sort of captures the theme of Washington Waves in this particular game. How much do you think, Manali, 2 back-to-back games on the same day is a factor in this kind of performance? They look to be a bit tired and sluggish at this point.
You know, I was just thinking that as well. It is their second game. It is hot out there. Yes, there's a breeze, but it does catch up with you. The dehydration is a factor. And the sluggishness could be because they know they're not getting the wickets,
Right,
but a
yeah.
big part of it is also because they have been out there for another game already.
Yes. One would wonder it's just 20 T20 games, but back-to-back games, they take their toll, and it's not never easy, especially in these kind of conditions. It was warm and hot today.
And what people don't realize is while it sounds like it's just 20 overs in a T20 game, the intensity of a T20 game, that might be a no ball. That's a full toss, hit down the ground, just waiting for the signal because this did look above the waist. It absolutely is. Signaled a no ball, it's going to be a free hit. Just struggling with the extras here, Geetika Kodali. And just to that point, the intensity of a T20 game, even though shorter, is a lot higher than in a 50-over game, and that's exactly what drains players. Free hit. Down the ground, it's been smashed, and it's as straight as it can get. It's going to be a boundary. Capitalizing on the free hit, capitalizing on the poor deliveries. They're racing home at the moment, the Blazers.
The wheels are well and truly coming off. Geetika Kodali brought herself in, knowing very well this is the over where they have to play their bigger hand, pick up a wicket or two, get back in the game, but it's worked exactly opposite. Two batters are well set, and they're going after it, especially Disha Dhingra.
That's going to be another wide. And you could just see where she stops her run up. That's 5 wides, in fact, because it's going to beat the keeper. But she doesn't actually follow through in her action. And that limits her ability to control the ball, to control the line and length. She will deliver and stop as soon as she's done. And we'll have a look on the next delivery and see just where she stops after she delivers the ball.
That's a very good insight there by Monali. Fast bowlers, half the work and momentum comes from the follow-through. And right there, we see that the entire momentum comes to an absolute standstill the moment she delivers the ball.
Well, and on that occasion, I'm surprised that the umpire hasn't actually called her for running onto the danger zone. Normally, she's a bit wider. 13 overs gone, 109 for 2. Just need 3 runs and over from here on. 109 on the cards. They need 130 to get over the line, the Bellevue Blazers. Excellent. It's going to beat the fielder. It's going to go all the way as well. Picked up really well and dispatched for a maximum. That is also going to bring them closer to that 130 mark, but it just makes you wonder if a couple of wickets here might change things. Picked up again. And this time it's even bigger. It's back-to-back sixes. Janelia Glasgow says, I've had enough. I want to get home quick.
Well, she is in a hurry. She's definitely got something exciting planned for the evening. Back in the day, in day games, they would say one needs to go to the races. But here, it certainly seems like she is in an absolute hurry. She took her time in between. They had worked out a plan for her. She waited. And boy, she's cashing on now.
Through the offside and straight into the hands. She's batted so well, Janelia Glasgow. She's going to fall for 41. They've finally broken this partnership. I just feel that it might be a little too late, especially when you need less than 2 runs and over.
That's like putting on mockers. Mockers on her. Commentator's curse. Not the first time today. Wicket that comes in eventually for the Waves, but it's a bit too far, a bit too late. 9 runs needed of 39. A mixed bag of a day for the Waves here. They won the first game when the popular opinion after the end of the first innings against Raptors was they probably would have left a few runs back on the table. But eventually they won the game. And now this one turned out to be a little tough.
Touching distance of the win, 9 needed of 39 deliveries. Absolutely no pressure whatsoever here on the Blazers. Low full toss. And it's a rare dot. We'll get it in the gap this time. It's going to be a single. It's also going to bring Disha Dhingra on strike. She's on 46.
She deserves to get to the 50 here. She's literally, although last few overs it was Janelle Glasgow who kind of took the bull by the horn and got the momentum for them. And there's
Skied
Disha Dhingra.
in the gap. It's going to fall short of 3 fielders. She will pick up 2 runs as she moves on to 48. End of the over, 14 gone, 124 for 3.
Sahasra Gorla, she kept wickets very well today against the spinners when the Blazers were fielding. With the job almost done, she's out there to bat and see the things through. So one big shot away this game.
All the time in the world to be able to cross over the line. Disha Dhingra is probably thinking, I want the win, just save 1 delivery for me to be able to get the 2 runs. Into the leg side. There is protection. It will just be the single. Also gives Disha Dhingra the chance to potentially get her half century and see her side over the line. She could finish this in 1 hit. .49, she's going to do it in singles.
Excellent head over shoulders, really. Played a matured innings, kept everything sort of in control, and that's a very loose shot. Was that a wicket? Yes. It's a loose shot against a run of play. An unnecessary wicket.
Pretty hesitant walking off as well. It is a wicket. Not one that's going to bother the Bellevue Blazers much. Just means that they've got to wait a little bit longer to cross over the line.
I don't know what the confusion is. Seems to have some discussion with the umpires. Against a run of play, almost sort of unexpected catch. Even the fielder was surprised. Where did that come from? But anyways, the wicket falls. The 4th wicket here. 4 runs to get. This time the luxury is they even have more number of overs left than the number of runs to be got. Alia Lane, another international from West Indies. We've seen a few today, and I'm sure it would have been a memorable day out there for some of the youngsters who are for the first time engaging themselves in a match where there's so many international players playing. And I hope that's they're taking and soaking in all of it that they've got to do here.
Very well bowled. Alia Lane on strike. New batter out to the middle. That's a good welcome delivery. Fired in full straight. Should just be the single. Four runs away from getting over the line. Correction, 3 runs away now. 15 overs gone, 127 for 4. I need to know who's in the presentation party. Mangesh, I've messaged you.
Adya Mohendru. And at this time, Brian, I wonder if Alia is just holding back enough runs for her stand-in skipper to go and get the 50.
Well, that is the only moving part remaining to be settled in this game.
And there it is.
And Disha Dhingra gets it down the ground for a single. Applause all the way around. She's batted aggressively. She's batted to the situation. And she has her team, as of right now, within 1 run of any flavor of a pretty emphatic victory.
She's captained well today. She operated the bowlers extremely well. Gave them enough confidence that they could strangle her, put some bit of a control in the middle overs.
And there is the run of any flavor. It's a wide down the leg side, and that is the end of the game. Very anticlimactic way to end things, but that wide brings up the run needed to get the Bellevue Blazers over the line. So pretty convincing victory in the end, Sheil.
It is indeed. It's like a canter. At one point, we were even discussing if there's a bit of 50-50 in both of them, and then suddenly these two batters, Janelle and Geet and Disha, they just took the game away with such no fuss attitude. Their batting was so controlled at times. They took the time if there were some good balls coming in, but eventually they saw themselves through like true professional outfit.
Well, that scorecard tells you everything you need to see, doesn't it? Disha Dhingra at the top, 50 from 40. 4 names down, or 3 names down. Janelle Glasgow, 41 from 32. Those two putting on a partnership of 81 runs, and that really did break the back of the Washington Waves. Supported by Mahek Desai at the top, 13 from 11. And there you see the bowlers just didn't quite come to the party. The one disappointment there at the top, Geetika Kodalu, who had a very expensive third over, goes for 31 in her 3, 1 wicket each for Amarpal Kaur and a couple of other bowlers there. Turnham Chopper, I think, was also very good. But that tells the story Shield ultimately a pretty one-sided game.
Yep, and it speaks to two openers on both sides scoring 50s, and that helps a lot in this kind of tournament, that your top order takes responsibility at the end of the day. A masterclass from Disha Dhingra on how to really control your innings, both in aggression and control. So fantastic day one of this Seattle Orcas T20 exhibition here in Monroe, Washington. And it just props up our excitement for the next few days, Brian.
It's going to be absolutely exciting. We will be taking a short break here and we'll go to Manali Patel for the post-match ceremony, a couple of interviews with the captains and the player of the match. We'll see that shortly. Bear in mind that tomorrow the action continues right here at 11 a.m. local time. It will be the Bellevue Blazers against the Redmond Raptors. But we will go silent here for a moment and then join Manali Patel for the closing comments and closing interviews in a match that sees the Washington Waves falling short at the end. Bellevue Blazers taking victory by a margin of 6 wickets. See you shortly.
You don't trust me, do you?
I just, for my own benefit, I wanted to.
Welcome to the post-match presentation of the first edition of the Seattle Orcas Women's T20 Exhibition Series. It was an interesting game. Washington Waves taking on the Bellevue Blazers. 129 in the first innings, and the Bellevue Blazers sail home by 6 wickets. We did see some outstanding performances. To give the Player of the Match award, I'd like to introduce Jane Ars, mum of Giovanna Aris, in our presentation party. Seen some really good performances from Nick Hardoshi, 58 off 41, Disha Dengra, 50 off 40, and ultimately the award goes to Janelia Glasgow, 2 wickets and 41 off 32 deliveries.
Thank you.
Janelia, excellent start with both bat and ball. You have picked up a win today. What does that mean going into the rest of the tournament?
First I want to give God thanks. Came in a bit late this morning, but I'm here to play the cricket. But good start. I think we have a lot of young players. Good to see they're putting up a fight in the field, especially earlier on. So it's a good to see starting with a win.
Pretty excited to be playing the States?
Yes, please. Pretty exciting.
Now, in terms of the experience that you bring in from the Caribbean, how important do you think that's going to be for those juniors that you're talking about?
I like to learn. I think I will learn from them because all of us here is here to learn. So I just come out here, just want to play the cricket. CPL is up next, so I think this is a good opportunity to start the campaign.
Absolutely, really good warm-up. Well, really well done today. Best of luck for the rest of the tournament.
Thank you.
That's Janelia Glasgow, the player of the match today. Now to speak to the captain who didn't quite have it go her way, Geethika Kodali. Started really well in the first game, a little bit tougher in the second game. What are some of the reasons why you think it didn't pan out?
I think in the second half of the game with our bowling, we could have been a lot tighter with our lines and lengths. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's the team that does basic cricket properly the longest. So yeah, it was a great effort from my girls. Still very proud of them. And we know we have a lot of potential and a lot of room for improvement, which is great because there's only one way to go. But yeah, overall, the other team played really well and really good cricket, so it was a good game.
Yeah, absolutely. But you did win the first game. What were some of those discussions that you had between the two games?
I think for the first game, we all played really well together as a team. Everyone was very intense on the field from ball one to finish. And that's something that really brings teams together. And I think maybe it was having 2 games back to back or anything like that, but that intensity was lacking in the second half. But in the middle, we really looked to keep it the same, and those were the discussions we were having.
Now, there was an obvious change in the way you were approaching batting in that second game. You were looking to go down the ground a lot more. Was that a discussion point to not play cross?
Yeah, definitely. In our first game, we saw a little bit of a collapse with our top order. I think we were getting used to newer conditions, and in the second game, I'm really proud of how much we improved in our batting. We were batting with better partnerships as well. I think we were still about 20 runs short, but it's great to see improvement from the first game, and we'll hope to improve even more from there.
Yeah, sounds excellent. It's been a long day. Get some rest, and best of luck for the rest of it.
Thank you.
And now time for the winning captain, Giovanna Aris, starting things off just right. Please join us. Happy to have picked up your first win on day number 1?
Yeah, felt pretty good. I mean, I went out kind of early. I had a little knee strain, but I'm proud of Disha. She held the team really well. I'm proud of her and Aaliyah, and they both just captained out really well. They followed the plans that we set before the game. I mean, the team overall, I said we're going to hold them under 130, and we did exactly that.
You did, and it looks like the plans did come through very well. Can we get an update on the injury?
It's feeling better. Just more ice. That's it.
And do you think you'll be ready for tomorrow?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Love the spirit. Love the confidence as well. You mentioned a couple of the standout players today. What was the plan when you started that first innings with the ball?
It was make sure we just keep outside off, attack them as much as we can, make sure we don't give any width. And I think we did that. I mean, we had a few loose balls here and there, but we got it together pretty well, especially in the middle and end of the overs.
Now, does it help in terms of confidence that, you've got the likes of Disha Dengra, you've got all this international expertise as well in the lineup, that in case you do need to sit out, you've got someone to take charge?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so grateful that Disha's there and Aaliyah and Glasgow, they're all there. I mean, all the girls are very experienced. I know they'll be able to hold their own when they're out on the field, so I was just proud of them.
What's the plan going forward from here on?
That's a secret.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. Really well done today. Best of luck for the rest of it.
Thank you.
That's going to wrap up our post-match presentation. Thank you for joining us today. More action to come tomorrow, so we hope to see you live again tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock.